All right, well, that works better if I turn on the audio. It's funny because I listened to the audio on the music side, but the music side just like, you know, that's just played by a video that runs live. Anyways, so today we are going to be looking at a few different things, some stuff on the iPad that I've been working on, a few stickers I need to make for the summer. We're also going to go over a little bit over some paper crafts. There is a new paper craft I wanted to try, but I haven't quite decided if I can even do the next part. But we'll show you that shortly as well. First things first is to get the desk a little bit dusted off, get some things out of the way so we can see what is actually happening. Okay, I'm gonna just get all these paper scraps real quick. And some of them aren't, they're not all paper scraps. Like this needs to be trimmed down into smaller sections of things. Let's run chat. Maybe Kylie showed up. Okay. Hi, Kylie. Yeah, sound's on. I messed that up. I always mess up sound. Okay. The rest of this is trash. Marine supplies. That's what I need to look for my wiring for my car, which is also another project that's happening all at the same time as all of this other stuff. This is all trash though. We're gonna get rid of this. No good. I mean, I can save it, but in reality, it's not gonna do me any good. Too much to save. I also need to take care of that speeding ticket or figure out what I'm gonna do about it. I need this to just have a little bit of shade. If I could just put a little bit of hat over it, I need to design something better. It would cut down on how terrible the video looks from the front. It's just because it's getting too much light in the top. So maybe I need to make it a little fence. Eventually, things to fix on the stream. Okay, let's jump into the desktop first. So the desktop we're working on, we're back to Alaska and 360 footage. I was excited to find an old cut version that I had already trimmed out a lot of things and put a lot of things together, such as like washing the car from a POV standpoint, matte spray painting on the front of this car, us painting it blue. So there's a lot of different sections, me organizing stickers that I need to kind of elongate a little bit. This has some narrative in it, but not much, so that's pretty good. Wasn't doing my job as legs there. Here's me painting this car. It's pretty interesting because I'm for sure I've talked about this on stream before, but I'm painting this car in the middle of nowhere. And like literally behind me is glacier runoff. So there's the car and there's where I'm standing. So I need to cut pieces and put things together. The story's already kind of roughly talked through. So now what I've been trying to do is use a little bit of technology or what everyone's been using to cheat through life and kind of help me write a better version of the story that I want to write. So we're just going to look. Oh, I'll bring this up. We'll just take a look, and I'll just read you a section of that part of the story. Because when I write things, I just write down a lot of like thoughts, and it's not usually. I have one-liners in there that I want to use. I have all these thoughts, but I really have a hard time articulating and making those work. So I've been writing out sections of what notes that I know, and then asking it to kind of redefine it, which it doesn't change it a whole lot, which is great. I'm pretty excited about that. It just um, kind of helps it. So I'm going to read the part that talks about the car. Oh, yeah. So here's the part where Matt's painting. The next morning we woke up and the car is called the Eagle, and you'll know that the if you read the thing. So the next morning we woke up, got the car moved to the campsite, and I got cleaning the canvas. Matt broke bread and got his very first piece of graffiti, which in all good tradition he drew a penis. And then Garrett started, and then Garrett and I got to work and finished the paint job. Blue was the only paint we needed because I had mainly pre-cut everything out of vinyl so that we all all could participate. And then it says event if people were not the best artists, even if people were not the best artists is when. We also had some hand-drawn stickers noted by Matt's local pub friends, which we stuck to the top. On the blue hood went the handicap logo, and the sides were lined with white stripes. And eventually, the local children helped us make our car the star by helping us put 50 glittery stickers on the hood. I added a few final touches and it was complete, but then it would start. But then it wouldn't start. So those same kids became our human power as we could not get the Eagle to start, and it had to be pushed towards the launch line. So a lot of like I'm like writing things just quickly and then having Chat GPT kind of clean it up for me, which is okay. Some of it I would like to like keep, and I think I would have to write that in, or I'll have to just revise it at the end. But this, you don't, the word woke. I don't know what that. The next morning we woke up. You don't. I don't know. That's not correct English either. So I'm having trouble trying to decipher the comment. You don't, the word woke. The next morning we woke up, got the Eagle moved down to our campsite, and got to work. First thing was cleaning the canvas. The car had been sitting long enough to collect a full coat of Alaska dust, and before we could make it ours, it needed a proper scrub down. Once it was clean, the transformation started. Matt broke bread with the car in the only way graffiti tradition demands. His very first piece of graffiti, a penis. All as all great artists before him had done. And with that ceremonial masterpiece complete, Garrett and I got to work. Blue was the only paint we really needed because I spent the last month pre-cutting most of the designs out of vinyl. That way, everyone could participate, even if your artistic abilities were limited. We had hand-drawn stickers too, donated by Matt's local pub crew back home, and we slapped those across the roof like signatures from everyone who couldn't make it. The blue hood got a handicap symbol front and center. White racing stripes lined the sides. And then the local kids got involved. They helped us cover the hood with 15 glittery star stickers, one by one, turning this upbeat red eagle into something bigger than just a junk car. It became our car, a ridiculous, patriotic, handicap powered missile built for one glorious purpose. I added the final touches, stepped back, and just looked at it. It was done, perfect, ready. Or so I thought, because when it came time to move it towards the launch line, it wouldn't start. Of course it wouldn't. And that's when the same kids who helped us decorate it became our engine. A swarm of little human horsepower pushed the dead eagle back towards destiny. Yeah, the problem is that the ending of the last sentence of the last story goes, so we headed back to camp, settled into the RV, told stories, laughed, and got some sleep. The next day, the real work and the real chaos would begin. So, ending off and then starting, I guess we could just run into like footage of waking up, but kind of helps color in that the next day that you would be waking up. So far, lots of work, but we haven't quite got to like car launch. This is all like preliminary work. Yeah. So that's why it says I woke up because, we went to bed. We finished the day. We had actually an extra day there, which I kind of don't want to write in. But the problem, well, actually, there's not really a problem. We can source because there's no footage of us going to bed. And that's also another reason why we're going to use We Woke Up. So get to Arnie's. I wrote that. I didn't write about mine and Matt's wheelchair race. Was that? Did he race me down? No, because we went uphill. Then when we left, I let him go. And then next day, there's Matt cleaning the car. There's me cleaning the car. So like next day we woke up, right? And then you're gonna have this flip. Next day we woke up, bing, right? Go to sleep, wake up. Told some stories and went to bed. I don't know if I have any footage of us telling actual stories or playing stuff. I just need a short clip of like some nighttime activities. I did write about him breaking the window. Then there's the walking through the cars. I also need to kind of cut together what audio I'm going to use that's narrative, because there is narrative with all this stuff. Boom. And there's pushing. Then here's me. I had all their guys' names. I think I know his name because he tells it to me right here. I believe. Let's see. Can't hear it. I have no audio. What happened to my audio? Interesting. Hmm. Why can't I hear it? Huh. Anyways, I'm pretty sure he tells us his name here. So I took a walk down to the crash site. So I need to write. So I'm going to have to write about the different cars because here's footage of me standing on our car. And then I pan down to show Murphy. So it should be that, and then flip upside down, and then see, it didn't quite do that correctly. But I can do that in post edit too. We didn't clean out the glass very well. I need to take that out of the narrative. If I knew how much shrapnel this thing was going to be throwing when it hit the ground, I wouldn't have. Oh, see, this is okay. Garrett does like a walkthrough that's pretty decent. And then like the walk back is much cooler than the, because he gets down to the end. And then he ends up sending it like through the car. And I didn't know which way to turn most of these. I need to cut like some pieces from both and merge them together. But it's kind of a interesting process to use ChatGPT to help me like finalize and write some things. See, Murphy's not in the car there yet. And that's the issue, is the consistency with everything is going to be the hardest part. Is like Murphy's in this one, but that's the end of this one. And I walk through, but I don't show a few things and then walk back up. But our car isn't even there. Our car disappeared. And then we can, because I might be able to trim, like if I can go from here back to the pig car and then cut right there. Because the pig car is what I do the next day. And finally, the day of the launch. More walking through crowds of people. The intro needs to start off with one of these split screen processes, and then I'm going to push this back into it. I need to fix this though, because I think I need all the iPhone footage. This footage isn't as good. It's not as clear. It definitely took up more area. These people are crazy. Climbing on cars that have just crashed. Right? Like that car is, who knows how stable it is, and the people underneath it are just chilling. Such a dangerous adventure. There's all the cleanup crews and all the crews trying to protect their cars if they wanted to pull anything out. Our car got attacked. Someone took the hood in like 20 seconds in, but we've already seen all this footage. This is going to be a little bit more cut things apart. This girl was so bummed. She came all the way out there with her boyfriend and like he wouldn't take a picture with her. I told her I'd take a picture with her. He didn't like that very much. Here's our poor little car. Pretty cool. Anywho, just getting this the narrative written down, getting some things put together. And just 146 minutes of footage we're trying to write down into. So I got the plane, we did this, we did this, we did this. Wash the car, got supplies ready. It died on us. So we can probably cut to like the hood opening. Or like getting out of the car and the hood opening after they push us back. I don't think I showed us getting any help. We'll have to do a black screen and be like, but eventually we got to the thing and then show off the car and then it running or not running. Not breaking the window. It being parked up there. Me talking about it a little bit. Okay, so I'm feeling hopeful about this. So I'm 37 minutes in with my narrative. Gonna write some connecting parts. And I can write the connecting parts. I can write some of the, as long as it's within my own like tone of voice, it shouldn't be too hard to kind of transition and blend. So now I'm doing another type of blending, right? Like you got to blend the music together to make the transitions within thought. You got to blend the visuals and you have to blend the narrative. So there's a lot to do when you're making a vlog or a movie, right? Like, or something like this. Some people naturally can just get in front of the mic and tell the story. I can if I'm telling it to somebody, but it's hard to think about recording yourself when you're just sitting around chatting. Or not only that, it changes it when you know you're being filmed. So I always make more mistakes, it seems. Anywho, so that's this project. And this project seems to be going pretty well, all in all. There's a lot to do, but also a lot's getting done, right? And each piece of the narrative is written that way. So if I jump back into ChatGPT and we started off where we finished, right? There's a walkabout right here, which will help. Boom. And he breaks this window out so fast. I have no audio from this whatsoever. I I don't think this stream's getting audio either. If I put it into like, all I got is gaming. Can I put it into media? No, it only lets me put it into gaming. And I'm not getting any. Not getting anything out of gaming. I don't know. It might not be sending me audio because there's too many programs running right now. OBS has a tendency to like kind of fail on me at that moment. But yeah, so this is where we're at. There's a guy's pink Corvette over here. Yeah. I'm on camera a lot though, right? Like if I always think about being self-conscious, I'm on camera right now. So I just need to make it just more normalized and just not think about it. That's how all those guys do it. I mean, going out and filming in public is always kind of awkward in itself. Like people don't want to be on camera, people really want to be on camera. I can show you some footage where people grab your camera and try to like yeah, just some crazy things that happen in the world. But filming and capturing the story to tell again at some other point. Yeah, I really need to figure out what I'm going to do with all these cuts. And I might have to go back and recut some stuff using the Insta. But I also need to delete some things. I need to get this project done. But that's why we're talking about it. That's why we're continuing on. Yeah, Murphy's not in there then. They must have taken Murphy out early. No, because we didn't put Murphy in till the last day. I don't know. There's some things that are out of order just because the footage is in a weird spot. I can do a better job with pinpointing all that stuff. Here's where like the dual cuts come in, which I don't think is going to serve us here. I was talking to our this is funny because she leans over and she tells me she's going to run over me if a car comes her way. So I need the intro and I need this iPhone footage more than I need anything else again. Matt probably has some really good footage, but to get footage from people is so difficult. It's so hard. Takes a lot of work. Okay, anyways, this is going well. ChatGPT is helping me along with it as we work through it. Okay, other projects. So ChatGPT is one, and then recently a singer died, which is kind of interesting. This is Oliver Tree. Oliver Tree passed away in a helicopter accident, which Oliver Tree is kind of known for pulling off some crazy stunts, doing a bunch of dangerous things in countries that like have less rules in order to get things built, um, and kind of does things like that. Anyways, interesting guy, very creative. Like his tag name is Alien Boy, which is kind of funny. And so I figured I would do a collaboration with UFO and um, Oliver Tree just to like pay respects. I ran it on ChatGPT. I wanted Oliver Tree dropping the mic. Of course, here he's got two middle fingers up. But then I wanted him dropping a mic out of one hand with one middle finger up and then doing that. But I just want to see if ChatGPT would help me help me out here. That's all I wanted to know. Like would ChatGPT, I'm like spiking way too much. I'm gonna try to lower my audio so I'm not cracking. That way it's not so loud when I cough. The gain's probably up pretty too high or something. I don't know. There's something weird with this mic. It's always been weird. I need someone to help me set it up. Anyways, so Oliver Tree. Now, I don't really use AI too much in the art world. I do use it to critique art. I always like will put in pieces that I've finished and ask it to help me finalize things or tell me what's missing, and it'll give me like a written thing and tell me. And then if I want it to show me, it'll show me. I have done like this one, right? There's the painting that I did. Here's where it started out with. Here is a new painting. Please define the light source. And can you show me where the rest of the highlights and shadows should go to make this more uniform? So they ended up putting in, different shadows and stuff for me to kind of help me fix it. And then it told me what was wrong. It's pretty useful. There's some other stuff that I've been using. Anyway, so stickers design. We went to. Yeah, no, I'm not going to sell the sticker. I guess I could put it on the Etsy. I don't think the Etsy runs anymore. And my friend who runs the Etsy is in India celebrating a wedding, so that's not going to work at this moment. If I wanted to get it off the cuff and like, oh man, I'm so ridiculous. I totally unplugged everything camera wise the other day for the overhead because my friend came over and there's just wires hanging out around everywhere. The issue I've been having is I still have the setup for. Oh no, where did it go? I still have the setup for the studio camera that's behind me. Let's see. There we go. All right. So then I tried to do my own rendition. I'm going to cut the middle lights so we don't have that much reflection. We're going to use my face ID to ID my face. We're going to skip through this. Close this. No. Okay. So I did a really small rendition of Oliver Tree. This is a different visual of him. I've been trying to work on the shading and what he's going to look like. But if you saw this guy in real life, let's just. There's an actual real life picture of this one. If I go from here and I insert photo, let's tell all the secrets. But basically, it's this picture that I've kind of rendered and just like lightly colored over the spaces that needed to be defined. And then I had to make some pants for him. Still need to like give him some detail on his like jacket and stuff, but not very much detail, kind of light detail. But I did a lot of this like by not looking too, so there was that. So if I was to kind of copy this and I wanted to put the shade in, I would add to this. I want to copy this color. Do I need to make a lighter version or a darker version? I think I need to make a lighter version. Like brighter. I need this color. Right? And that's kind of cool because I can just take the color straight from the thing. Right. And then draw it in as needed. It's like mostly this color. There's like some thin lines of it's not this color, but right. And then so you can kind of just play around. And that's what I've been doing, is just kind of playing around with this image. Does it look right? Probably not. I need the darker red. Let's try to put in the shading. Right, so like I tried to do this the other day, but it did not work out that well. Right? Something more like that. Give it a little bit more texture. It's pretty bright though. I need to learn how to draw cloth a little bit better. In order to learn, you gotta study, which is an annoying part. Don't want to study. I want to just know. I want to be like the Matrix. Be like Neo. I know. You just know. That doesn't look too bad. It looks better. There's like a purple pocket though that I gotta draw like actually on the suit. Yeah, there's purple pockets, which is this color. And then we gotta add it to this problem. And they go. And you just see like a sliver of it over here. And then we gotta go back to this layer and we gotta erase over that pocket. gotta erase over this pocket too. Then we're going to take a little bit of this color and we're going to add back underneath this pocket, behind this pocket. Then we're going to need a little bit of this purple to kind of trace, outline these pockets. Right? Looks pretty good. Not gonna lie, I'm not mad about it. I think I need less purple there. Do I need? I think I need that crease. So this has been a fun little project that I've been working on. Just when, I go to sleep at night and I'm just sitting around trying to fall asleep, I'll sit up and sketch something for a little bit. Make it happen. I feel like I need to put tons of highlights on him though because he's getting beamed up into space. Also found an extra Apple pencil, which was pretty interesting today while I was cleaning. I know where it came from. I gave my brother an iPad a few years ago. Traded him. Didn't give it to him. The camera you guys are watching me on is his camera that he got for doing a project. And then I ended up running into an iPad that somebody wanted to get rid of for like a really good deal. So I picked that up, which I shouldn't have because at the time I was super broke. But I picked it up because I knew I had owed him money for his camera. So I ended up buying that for cheaper than what I was supposed to pay him for his camera and then hook him up with a brand new iPad. Which I think he got one from his work eventually, but yeah. It needs to be not on that green. I want it on like black or something. But that's not the color that UFOs, right? Like maybe no, pink wouldn't work. Could I do orange? So if I add this one back and I just orange is too much. I think yellow is not going to work either because his hair. Green works, but what if I went in between? Pops the best on the blue. I think his jeans need to be darker though. highlight for his jeans here. Needs to be looks better. Anywho, I haven't really finished this adventure. Pants need detail. I think the jacket came out pretty good, but like I said, this guy is so small. And the sticker isn't going to be very big either. I don't know if we're going to be able to even tell what's going on. I need to draw a microphone over here at some point. Right? And then the top here, we would just a very hand-drawn collab piece. That's what's kind of fun about being able to draw on the iPad is you can experiment with whatever you want and then just erase it if you don't like it and not like take forever. Erase it, right? I'm interested in this idea. I don't know where I should be going. Should I just be moving down? Should I be leaving it in one space and then moving over to differentiate them? I don't know if I love that. See, this would be good because then I can do a really simple UFO. Right, that's what really makes it look more like he's floating off the ground as if I that looks pretty decent, like he's floating. I think I just need to like figure out this part a little bit better. Because, I mean, this part right here needs to be trimmed. Because his legs aren't actually that wide. I just don't know. Because I think his leg would be like kind of bent. Like the top of his leg would be getting a lot of light. Some of this flare would be getting some light, but not as much as I think is going on here. And then like right under the knee, we probably wouldn't. Then we would get lit all the way down to the end of the pants, really. It's hard to tell. I'm gonna have to look at some baggy pants and like do some research. Lots of research to be done within the next couple days. We didn't get to any paper art tonight. Seems like we spent too much time doing digital stuff today. There's some little bit of Oliver Tree action for everyone. I'll probably finalize that sticker in the next couple of days. Anywho, so note to self, I need to build a little shield for my camera so we can come in clear like that. Look how much clearer it is. I just need to put like a shade over it. Alright, so I'm going to build that probably tomorrow or maybe later tonight just so we can get that fixed. A lot of work with ChatGPT, just really kind of trying to push myself through these creative blocks or things that I can't do, like writing narrative, my least favorite thing to do. But if I'm able to take notes and kind of drop this into ChatGPT after my trip, maybe this would be much easier to do. Like maybe vlogging is possible, maybe it's not so like out of my reach. But at this point, it's been like that's interesting that that didn't help. Where am I getting that light coming from? Just barely. See, that's good. I just put a piece of paper on top of it, but it's very balanced. Like if I Yep, pretty much. Okay. Anywho, that's going to be it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Happy Monday, everyone. We'll be back here on the 24th, so in 2 days. I don't think I'm going to be doing editing streams unless anyone really wants to see those. Those will be happening behind the scenes. Like most of today was spent writing back and forth with ChatGPT and really trying to get the basic outline out. It's actually pretty cool on how you can set up things. Let's just real quick take a look back into that. And I'll show you what happened when I first tried to do this. So my first parameters were I need help writing a narrative for a story about traveling to Alaska with my friends. I will input small thoughts into chat, but the end goal would be to produce about 12 minutes of narrative of my adventure. It will probably take a few rewrites, but that's the plan. So that's what I wrote to ChatGPT. And then it said, absolutely, that's a strong way to build it. Uh, what's your what you're describing? Basically, iterate story building. You feed me fragments, memories, moments, emotions, funny details, scenery, conflicts, etc., and I will help share them. I will help shape them into a polished narrative. A 12-minute spoken story is usually about 1,500 to 2,000 words, depending on the pacing, so we have plenty of room to make it feel cinematic and personal. Here's the best way to describe it, and it gives you a bunch of things that you can do to describe it. I'll organize them into stories: opening, hooks, adventure, turning points, reflection, ends. We'll refine the tone, build build the final 12-minute narrative. So it gives you all these like pointers, how to do it, kind of walks you through what it wants, and for what you want. I don't think I read any of those pointers. Probably would have been a good idea. Um, we drove to Seattle before flying out. We forgot. My friend forgot his ID, and we almost missed our flight. It's things like that, just small details. And it seems to be working pretty well. Like even this first part, um, people always ask how I ended up in Alaska. And honestly, it started with one of the most ridiculous phone calls I've ever gotten. My buddy, a substitute teacher and one of the most committed Dungeons and Dragon players I know, told this is a little bit too embellished. I'm going to have to like cut out the most committed dungeon masters. And then we'll continue to fine tune everything. It really doesn't matter for the sake of the story. And here's another thing about writing stories. Telling stories in general has always been adding a little bit of color. There was a movie called Big Fish, made many years ago. I believe it's with what's his face, Ewan, no, not something. What's his name? I don't know. Ewan McGregor, maybe I think is his name, and he plays a guy who tells a story about his life. And I think he's the young man. He's listening to his dad tell a story, and it's not how the story happened at all. The story was much different, but in order to tell the story with great color and make it as interesting as everyone wanted it to be, um, he told it differently. And that's kind of the story about Big Fish is like, can we just embellish a little bit, change the story, and then who's going to be upset? The D&D group, because they know that Matt's like in and out of D&D and he doesn't play all that much. Who cares? Like, they're never going to know. But for the story, um, it says my buddy, a substitute teacher, he's one of the most committed Dungeon and Dragon players I know, told me that he was heading to Alaska for the 4th of July with his D&D crew, not for fishing, not for sightseeing, not even for hiking. They were going to launch a car off a cliff. That was the whole pitch. I had already planned to be in Alaska sometime that summer, but this changed everything. I didn't need convincing. The second he said, launch a car off a cliff in Glacier View, I told him I was in. Suddenly, the vague summer trip turned into a mission. And with only about a month to figure out everything out, I got to work. We were supposed to get the car once we arrived in Glacier View, so before we ever touched Alaska soil, I started sketching rough ideas, paint jobs, themes, dumb graphics, all the things, all the stuff you'd want covering a car that was destined to fly off a cliff. That's when it started feeling real, not like a vacation, like an adventure. So ChatGPT helped me write a hook, helped me kind of come through with this, and then it wrote the next section and the next section and the next section. But the only reason why it's written in sections is because I keep hitting the enter button by accident, and it just will take it and then start shaping it again. So I'm hoping that once we're done with this whole thing, it's going to compile it. There's a lot of words. And we'll get an interesting story. And I'll just be able to put it to video. It sounds easy, but I know it's not. It's going to take me a couple days just to finish the narrative. Once the narrative goes down, it's going to take me a day or two to pick music. It's going to take me probably a day to even read the narrative out loud and cut it back into the video. And then hopefully by that time, well, we'll see. I only got a few more days before we leave for Orcas Island to go do that concert. So that's happening. Anyways, guys, I kept you over. Lots of things to say about ChatGPT and the ways it can help you. I'm going to have it help me do what I can't do very well, and that is organize my thoughts and my writing. Most of the time, I get to my writing and I'll write a narrative and I'll sit down to read it, and I haven't proofread it. And as I'm trying to blindly read it, I'm also not, I'm having to correct it. So I'll run into mistakes in it, and then it completely ruins the flow of the sentence, and I'll have to start over, re-say things, and all that just takes more and more to cut out. If I have a script and I'm just reading it verbatim, I might have to repeat things one or two times, but it shouldn't be that big of a deal. I've used narratives in the past, and they seem to work quite well for me and to help the story along. So we're going to see how this goes, and yeah, I'll keep you guys posted when we launch the video. That'll be cool. Tomorrow is Tuesday. I will be working on finishing the intro, not the intro, but just the opening race cut, which is all going to go on as a raw cut onto um, YouTube. And I want to see if that gets any traction. There's a meeting for the downhill coming up on Wednesday. I have two sets of plans. The problem is that the race is on the same weekend as my buddies are planning to do a weekend retreat in Idaho. I wish it wasn't on the same weekend. That's bad, but they want to go to Idaho on the 1st of August, and the bike race is traditionally on the first Saturday of the month, and the first day of August this year is the first Saturday of the month. So, bummer on both realms. I got to figure out which one I'm going to do. I did tell my friend that I'm happy to edit things as long as I can get the footage into my hands, which is a lot more work than me going. In theory, you wouldn't think it's a lot more work to get footage from people than it is to shoot your own footage, but to be honest, it's a pain. Most people's devices don't export things in the right quality, so you get footage that's bad quality, and it's just no good. It's just no good. Anyways, that's something to think about as I go into the summer of where I want to be and what I want to be doing. Anyways, that's going to be it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and have a great evening.